actually, well, our brain can actually change. And we are actually in control of that change.
Yes.
We have a science now called the science of epigenetics, which is over and above the genes. We've been told that we're victims of biology, that the gene dominates everything, that's it. Meanwhile, the gene is dormant until it's switched on. And that's the epigenome, and the epigenome is your thoughts.
Right.
Your thoughts are the thing that actually activate things inside your body. You know, and that is
so
powerful.
rich right there. That is so rich. And I think people, I think people really need to hear that it is your thought, that epigenome, that operates or allows those genes to come to life in you. It's how you think about certain things.
Well, if you think of it, God gave us the ability to think. When you think, you're going to choose. It's automatic. As you think, you make choices. And that results in thoughts being built. So we think to build thoughts. Thoughts are memories. So this tells us then that thoughts are real. Thoughts are real. They occupy mental real estate. But most people go through life thinking, oh, well, I can't see the thought, so it doesn't really do anything. No, I've got that bad thought, but let me just squash it down there, and, it's not doing anything, it's not harming me. Meanwhile, no thought is harmless. And no thought it's real. They occupy mental real estate. I've actually got some props here, if I may.
Yeah.
Show you this. I mean, why would I have a Halloween tree on a Praise the Lord set? But this is a toxic thought. This is a toxic thought. This is what literally, the thoughts in our brain look like trees. Okay, now this is an ugly one. Let's show you a nice one. Would you mind, Bishop, helping me with this one? Now we've got and this is a healthy thought. So now we're going to use these as our analogies. Perhaps we can put that one over there. Every thought that you think, as you're listening to me now, as everyone's listening to me now, information is going in, we're processing that information, which is thinking about it, and that results in something physical, a physical change in your brain. And those physical changes look like trees. So in our brain, our brain's the size of our 2 fists, and inside it we have around 100 billion nerve cells. Those nerve cells or neurons look like neuron trees. They look like trees. They look like Christmas trees. Now, as you're listening to me now, your brain is operating at about 400 billion actions per second, your non-conscious mind. And it's taking the words that I'm saying, taking those words and building little branches, growing branches, and putting the words onto those branches. So those words become electrical impulses stored within the branches of the mind. And we're constantly growing those branches all the time. Every time you think, changing what we call the tectonic architecture, or we're changing the trees of our mind. So if we think of it like a forest, a forest with loads of trees, we've got 100 billion nerve cells in our brain, which means that all those nerve cells look like trees. So we've got these huge forests in our mind. And I've got another prop here. I brought my brain along. Just to help us with this process. Okay, so this is your brain. Now on the outside of your brain are the tops of the trees. And on the inside of the brain are the tree trunks. Now, the outside of the brain is where all the branches are. And all the time, we are constantly growing more and more branches. And those are thoughts and those are real. Now, that means that every time I think, I'm changing my own brain structure. In order to grow branches, I have to have little proteins being made. Those are my building blocks. And that's what the genes will produce. That's genetic expression. So my thoughts create proteins. Proteins build branches. So God has designed our brain in such a way that as we think, it changes. But here's the real amazing thing, Bishop. We are wired, all the circuitry of the human brain is wired in a direction of love.
Wow.
This is what the scientists call it. I just love it. These evolutionary scientists don't actually know what to do with this term, but they say we're wired for love. What does that mean? But if you think of it, God made us in his image, and God is love, and you have the mind of Christ. I mean, you just have to look as far as your scriptures. So then we think, well, if we're wired for love, it means we're wired to build these healthy trees. Why then do we have these in our brain? Because at any one time, we have toxic thoughts in our brain. I call them toxic thoughts. We have a combination in our forest. If you had to scan inside the brain and see these forests, you would see green and black trees. That is because God didn't make us robots. He made us with the ability to think and choose. He gives us the handbook to tell us how to choose. He says, I lay before you life, and there's choose life.
Choose life.
So that you and your descendants may live. So the choices that we make, so we think, we make choices, and we build thoughts. If we choose the wrong kind of thing, the negative direction, that's a hijack of the norm. All of our neural circuitry is wired to build these. If we choose to go in the opposite of love direction, which is fear, so love covers, joy, patience, peace, for it's a big word for the good stuff.
Two basic emotions, love and fear.
Exactly.
Everything else branches out.
Exactly. electrical component or formula for that. So when we choose to move in a negative direction, we still build, but we build with all the wrong electrical chemical combinations. And so therefore the thought is a hijack of the normal. We build an abnormal hijack, which then causes inflammation in the brain, throws the body into stress, and we have